Ethan Liming's murderer unalives again by actual Justice Warrior channel. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let's watch it.
Listen, a young man's night out ended in tragedy when he was caught in the crossfire of two people shooting. It happened in Akron's Highland Square neighborhood, and tonight police say they've arrested a man who's no stranger to violence.
So I'd like to tell you that today's story is the tale of a crime that really couldn't have been prevented, that there was nothing that could have been done differently in the past in order to prevent this outcome, and however tragic the death of Timothy Hutchinson, who is pictured right here, actually is, in reality, sometimes these things happen, and we could just move forward with the justice system in Akron and hope that we prosecute this man to the fullest extent of the law. But the thing is, that would be a lie. That would be an untruth, because the suspect that has been revealed in this particular case is somebody called Deshaun Stafford, and you guys might be familiar with him, or you might not remember him, but you might be familiar with his victim in the past, Ethan Liming, who was beaten to death by Stafford at LeBron James's promise school over a dispute when Ethan Liming's friends were shooting a water pellet gun in their direction. They decided to chase those friends. Liming decided to get out of the car to talk to them, and they responded by sucker punching him, knocking him onto the ground, and then stomping him out repeatedly. Of course, a case that led to non-murder convictions. In fact, the only conviction that Deshaun Stafford, who killed Ethan Liming, again, knocked him to the ground and stomped him out with another person, got was an assault conviction for 18 months. And now that he's out, now that that time has expired from his 2023 conviction, guess what? Somebody else is dead. Somebody else lost their life because of this thug that was released onto the streets by the Akron criminal justice system, and I'm absolutely sick of it. So this is what
Well, I think this is not new for us. It has been happening for a while, and this is something that how I should say, this is something that happens in the micro and goes to the macro. I don't know if you guys understood what I said. Like, it happens in the small, like, kinds of social structures, like families, and it's the same in the macro as the government. What I try to say by it is the following: like, you have a family, and let's suppose, and you have like two kids. One is good, and the other, it's the old type, the old common type of good people, like, that goes to church and etc. And you have another son that is the bad boy, the one that, that is always doing shit and terrible stuff. You have the good and the evil. And let's suppose it starts in the home. Like, you see the misbehaviors, for example, they have friends and they are playing with their friends on the street, where they live, both of them. And the mother always tell them to, you don't fight others, and etc, etc, etc. So you have this good boy that it will probably be targeted by the other kids because he's on the defensive, he's passive, he's obedient, and he will be probably scrutinized by the other kids by that. And at the moment that he goes crying at home and complains to the mother will also punish him for what happened most of the times, and say a lot of bunch of surreal stuff. Like, while you have the bad boy that will not listen to what the mother actually said, that is also her kid. I'm putting them both in the same family just for you to see the contradictions. And he will go there, and not only he will not be targeted by the other kids because the kids are already aware just by looking at him that he's a problem. And the kids will already see this bad one, like if it was a danger or something. But not only he will disobey the mother what he said. Oh, you don't fight with others. You don't fight yourself problem, etc. But he will cause problems. He will cause many problems. He will punch the other kids. You know, and the mother will not. Even though he disobeyed his mother, the mother will not punish him in any kind of form, will not screen him, will do nothing. It's usually what happens with kids out there. The ones that are good are always doesn't have any kind of rewards, and those the were bad are rewarded and have like it just starts in the families. I'm not joking. This starts in the family, in the micro, and the same goes for the school. You see on the school, the kids that are bullied, that are always, defenseless, passive ones, that are just, they're like quiet. These are always, if they do just a small thing back, because they are always being, targeted. But if you do just one small thing back, the teacher will, complain and call its attention, these kids' attention. But you have the bullier, and this one will always get away with everything inside the classroom. It's like the teacher ignores what he does and also rewards them somehow, with making easier for him to reach the grades with, you didn't pass the grade, but here is this job and etc. And I will give you the grade enough for you to pass. I don't know if in the US this happens, but here it's very common. And I'm using boys as an example, but it's the same for the girls. It's no different. So what happens in the micro? It's repeated on the macro as well. So on the bigger sphere, on the government, it's the exact same thing. You see more and more often, more and more innocent people being arrested and more harshly punished for things that they don't did, or like, for example, in my country, for just expressing their opinions online, being arrested for that, while there's a lot of murderers, literal murderers, mass murderers, and very violent criminals that they just get away with anything, with everything. This has been happening here for decades, and this is now happening in US as well. And it will get more and more common till you reach the level of insanity that is my country with it.
What we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Count
No,
one,
give
which
me
is
the money.
involuntary manslaughter based upon aggravated
I need to get out of
assault.
here.
That is as to defendant Deshaun Stafford. This is the count upon which there has not been a verdict.
And now he has this freaking face here. Oh my God, this really pissed me off. Look at the poor face here. Oh my God, I'm so innocent.
As to count one, the jury has considered this count for a considerable length of time and reported to the court that it is unable to reach a verdict. The court accepts this in conclusion and finds that there is no probability of the jury agreeing and would declare a mistrial as to count one. As to count two, we, the jury, being duly impaneled and sworn, do find the defendant, Deshaun Stafford, guilty of the offense of aggravated assault. And it goes on that we do so render our verdict upon the concurrence of 12 members of our said jury. It is dated September the 22nd and is signed by 12 members of the jury.
Now, if you guys don't remember the details of the Ethan liming case, I will break it down for you really quickly and tell you about the media frenzy surrounding it and all the different various people who were defending the murder of Ethan liming based on the fact that the perpetrators in this particular case were black and Ethan liming was white. So what is not usually told to people out there in the audience is that Ethan liming went out with a group of friends. Now, they were being teenagers, they were goofing off, and they were using this like Nerf-style water pellet gun to shoot people outside of their vehicle.
And you see, because this, it really looks, of course we know it's not, but it really seems like intentional. In my opinion, these black people are not getting to stay on jail paying for the crimes intentionally. And I think it's pretty clear for everyone already at this point. It is clear. But the reason is they want us to revolt against black people, all black people. So always we'll see like black people committing crimes. And if we keep always seeing people like him, and as we've seen lately, a lot of black people committing like mass murders or whatever, or being like serial killers, killing one after another and not staying in jail with many felonies, and and nothing happened with them. This will make us, be more and more racist towards every black man or woman. This is what they want. Clearly, this is what they want, and it's working. And this is something very serious and problematic to think about. We know, okay, we have data. Data don't lie. Okay, I mean, yeah, it can lie, but it's more when they mess around with percentage, and yeah, it can lie, but it's not that simple. But what I mean by that, I know that they are the ones committing more crimes and more, etc., that you guys gonna say. They are the majority, but they are not everyone. They are not everyone. And even though they are a majority, they don't represent like all black people. They represent part of it. I don't think it's right to become the enemy of all of them just because some are doing this. And yeah, I know the numbers are insane compared to whites and others, but we can go that way. We shouldn't be doing this, really. We should like not look at the colors. They should just treat them as criminals. It doesn't matter how many blacks committed a crime. You just get the ones who committed a crime and you hold them accountable. They are not being held accountable intentionally. It's pretty much clear because they want us to they want to divide us, put black against white, white against black, and etc. They have been doing this for so long, and it's the same with everything else, as we know. This is old. All of you guys know already, but it seems that more and more they are convinced people that it's right to be racist towards black people, and it's not. It's not. I'm sorry if you think that. I know, okay, you're right. They are the majority committing all kinds of crimes. I know that. I know, I saw the data. But, and the ones that are not doing that, they will be punished for the ones who does? We're not talking about a small minority here. We are not talking about, I don't know, 5% of blacks that are good. It's way more than that. It's not just because the data tell you that we have to demonize all of them. It isn't right. It isn't right. I shouldn't be saying this in 2025, but sadly I have to. It's incredible. People are forgetting this.
Vehicle while they were out. Now, it's important for you guys to understand because a lot of people tried to make this a race thing.
Don't fall. Yes, it's like he was about to say. People are trying to do this by a race thing. If you just hold people accountable for their wrongdoings, it doesn't matter the color. You just have to do justice. And you don't have to look at the color. Just practice the fucking justice. Stop treating them by the color. The guy's a murderer. The guy needs to die. It's my opinion. No jail, no permanent. The guy needs to die. Okay? And that's it. Because taxpayer is not even just by vengeance. But I think it is, of course, because the family probably wants that. The family of the murdered person. Okay? It's fair. In my opinion, it's fair. But it's not even by revenge. But I don't think we as taxpayers, we shouldn't be, wasting our money sustaining these people in jail for their murderers, for, permanently until they die. We shouldn't. But taking them out of the jail, it's not answer as well as we are clearly seeing. I think everyone knew already. The ones that doesn't seem to be knowing that are the judges. We always knew that. It's pretty much clear. Just practice the natural law. It's simple as that. The natural law fix it, Let's continue.
Saying that Ethan Liming was targeting innocent Beba Angel black people, but in reality, Ethan was with another white friend and two black friends also in the vehicle. And in fact, one of the black friends and one of Ethan's white friends were the ones who actually shot at Deshaun and his brother, and this ultimately ended up leading to this altercation because when these two guys got angry, they started chasing those individuals. They ran back towards the car. Ethan, not realizing that this was a serious physical threat, got out of the car thinking that they were horsing around, and he was jumped by these people at LeBron James's promise school. And if you guys will remember, there was a moment in time where these suspects were at large, and rather than LeBron James and his promise school using their platform in order to find the suspects, they decided to put out a post about how everybody in their community, in the promise school community, was actually safe, and it was no big deal, nothing to worry about. It's just relax, everybody. It's all good because nobody important to the promise school nor LeBron James actually ended up getting hurt in this particular instance, even though Ethan Liming was beaten to death. The suspects were at large, and the parents were begging for somebody to pick up the story so that these people could eventually get caught.
It's been 1 week of total anguish for the family of Ethan.
I bet that this situation just made their parents lose like 20 years of life in health just for not getting justice. Imagine how their minds and hearts should be at this moment, like, seeing all of that, all of what happened to their son, and no one actually caring about their story. Like, just imagine the impact on their health, on their mental health, on I bet they like gotten 20 years older in just one,
Ethan Liming.
What did he do to you?
So you just didn't kill their son. You damaged both of them as well. It should also be considered in the punished. The judges who decide the stuff should be punished, in my opinion. They should be harshly punished. But this is never gonna happen. I don't see this stuff happening. What do we need to do to make this stuff happens with judges? Evil judges has to be arrested, or sometimes I believe even condemned to death as well. Like, I believe that judges that release a person that has, 10, 20 felonies already, that killed like 5, 10 people already, or whatever, the judge should go to, to death penalty as well, together with the person who commits the crime. This is my opinion. I don't care.
You deserve to kill him like this. I just can't wrap my head around why you did this to him.
Akron police say on the evening of June 2nd, officers responded to a reported fight outside of the I Promise school on West Market Street. Investigators tell us Ethan and a group of friends pulled up and fired gel beads from a splatter water bead blaster gun at a group playing basketball. A fight ensued, and police say Ethan was savagely beaten to death.
Oh my
so
God.
far,
Oh
no
my God.
arrests have been
Poor
made.
guy.
So we're hoping that somebody out there will provide The Akron
Poor
police
guy,
with
man.
enough information to get them going in the right direction and help them solve this case as quickly as possible.
Copley Police Chief Michael Meyer is on the board of directors for Summit County Crime Stoppers. The organization had offered a $5,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest or indictment in the case. Now, 1 week after Ethan's death, Meyer says a group of anonymous community members is upping the ante.
But it only got worse from that point on, because you guys will recall, after they were caught, people started painting Ethan Liming as a racist. Now, of course, this was not justified at all whatsoever. This was a ridiculous allegation, and in
This is ridiculous. The guy's deaf. The guy was murdered for a reason totally unbelievable. Like, no reason is good for, unless you're defending yourself from someone trying to kill you. Non-excuse is enough for you to murder someone. This is insane. And now they are trying to taint the image of someone already dead, totally in a horrible and unfair way. I say racist. And it doesn't matter even if it was true. What it has to do with the murderer not having to pay for what he done just because the guy is racist or not. This is ridiculous. This is so freaking insane. Democrats are insane. They are evil. They are demonic.
In addition to that, considering Ethan was out with two of his black friends, who, by the way, ended up testifying at the trial to try to get these killers convicted, they just decided to disregard that, and again, a la Austin Metcalf, make this a black-white issue, where, of course, the person who was dead, the white person, was actually the evildoer all along. Now, in addition to that, the charges were actually reduced in this particular case.
But when I asked Brian LaPrinzi in the initial prosecutor's meeting that I had with him, I asked him if race made a difference, if my son's skin color made a difference in the way in which they're approaching it. And he said yes.
The Summit County Prosecutor's Office told us in a statement in part, quote, Mr. Liming's accusations are not true. We met with the Liming family and their attorney and explained the facts and evidence which we were legally permitted to tell them about. At no time did the race of any of those involved play a factor in the charges. Last month, Jones entered a no-contest plea to misdemeanor assault charges. He was given a suspended sentence of 180 days in jail and credited with time served. Liming is upset, angry, and frustrated.
A source who was at the initial prosecutor's meeting between the detectives and the prosecutors described that prosecutor's meeting as being very contentious. Some of the prosecutors wanting felonious assault charges and murder charges, others basically wanting no charges at all, with one of the prosecutors saying that Ethan received hood justice, which was a new term to me. I was unfamiliar with that terminology, hood justice.
What the hell it means?
And I guess implying that Ethan got what he deserved.
Because even though they knocked Ethan Liming out,
Ethan got what he deserved. What the hell does that mean, man? What is going on with our justice? How we are allowing this stuff to happen with more and more people every single day?
called onto the street and then stomped him out to the point where his body had shoe prints all over it. They decided, oh, well, no big deal. It's just a regular, ordinary assault. And you know what? Ethan Liming kind of had it coming. And if you don't believe me, if you don't understand this, there was actually an Akron official who said Ethan Liming received street justice. This kid who was beaten to death by criminals, he got street justice because his friends fired a water pellet gun in the direction of the suspects, and these excuses were all added up to the point where when they got
it doesn't matter. Jesus Christ, man. Even if it was true, it doesn't matter to the fact. It adds nothing to the fact that the guy murdered someone, and not just murder, in a very terrible, violent way. The guy was stepped on until die. Can you imagine the suffer, the time that it took? It probably a very slow death. It's not fast, probably. And they justify all of that happened with like, oh, the guy deserved. It doesn't matter, even if it was true, again, even if he was racist and was screaming a lot of very terrible racist stuff at them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This guy needs to be, oh God, Why do I need to explain very simple stuff? What's going on with people? What's going on?
Got to the trial, they were only pursuing assault charges, and that's what they got a conviction of. So Ethan Liming was murdered in cold blood, was stomped out while he was on the ground, and those convicted for this murder didn't really get any serious prison time. And obviously, when you essentially get away with...
Then you guys try to convince me to have hope that we can change society. How are we gonna change this? How are we gonna change this?
Murder, and you are a violent individual who's going to snap on kids for firing a water bead gun at you, this could lead you to, get into other beefs, get into other situations, and ultimately end up killing someone else. And that is exactly what is alleged to have happened in this particular case.
Right, well, Christy, police tell me they were able to track down 24-year-old Deshaun Stafford with the help of hours of surveillance video and witness tips. Now, Akron Police Lieutenant Michael Murphy tells me with the help of the U.S. Marshals, Stafford was arrested this morning at his home in connection with the death of 25-year-old Timothy Hutchinson. Friends say Hutchinson was on his way to meet friends at a bar in the area when two men started shooting at one another. Hutchinson was caught in the crossfire. Police also arrested 23-year-old Imani Thomas on unrelated charges.
Look, when I first heard this story, I thought that maybe, just maybe, we would get some negative attention on this particular suspect because he was allowed to get away with killing a white person. But this particular shooting sounds like some hood nonsense, so likely the victim in this shooting would be a black person. However, even though it appears based on the reporting that the exchange was between two black people, it appears that another white person, another young person, was the one who was killed in this particular instance, very much in the same way that Ethan Liming was killed based on a dispute that they had with Ethan Liming's friends. However, in this particular case, Hutchinson had nothing to do with the people that were exchanging fire. He was just caught in the crossfire. So another reckless homicide has occurred. Deshaun Stafford is involved yet again, and maybe, just maybe, we could finally take it seriously. And again, I want to point out, he was convicted in 2023, sentenced to 18 months for felony assault because, innocent Beba Angel Aladdins like to knock teenagers out and then stomp them out until they're dead, and that's no big deal. We can't take that seriously. So now this guy was able to kill somebody, again, shortly after that 18-month sentence. He might have even gotten released early, who the hell knows, and we're supposed to pretend like there was nothing we could do, that this is totally normal, that all these different people that are out here grieving for the loss of their friend, who again was just a 25-year-old trying to go out for a nice night at the bar, we have to tell them that, oh, I'm sorry you're so sad, but we needed to give that guy, Stafford, another chance, because who hasn't stomped somebody to death in a parking lot over a petty dispute, over a childhood prank that, again, is annoying. You shouldn't be doing something like that, but obviously does not justify murder. What are we gonna say about this if we didn't give him another chance? Sorry, Timothy Hutchinson, successful young man, dressed well, had a nice burgeoning career, a core friend group that you wanted to hang out with. Sad day for you. You don't get to live anymore because Deshaun needed a second chance. Deshaun, we thought, was an innocent Beba Angel Aladdin, the victim of poverty, and honestly, according to some Akron officials, all he did was get street justice, so maybe, just maybe, they didn't even feel like he did anything wrong when he stomped out the 17-year-old Liming, and now, again, somebody else is dead. Somebody else was killed.
Detectives believe Stafford initiated the shooting on West Market Street by firing at Thomas, and that Thomas fired back, striking Hutchinson.
And again, as you just heard right there, and according to all of the reports, it turns out that the guy who initiated the shooting, the felon, by the way, who shouldn't be in possession of a firearm, is in fact Deshaun Stafford. And it was the firing back in his direction, the defensive use of a firearm, that ultimately ended up leading to the death of course, Timothy. And of course, this means that this guy is guilty of yet another homicide. Because again, if somebody dies during the commission of your felony, that is on you. If you end up trying to murder somebody, they defend themselves and somebody gets caught in the crossfire whether it's from your bullet or their bullet, in reality, if you are acting criminally in that moment, guess what? It is on you. It is your fault. So yeah, while I'm sure somebody out there is gonna not understand how the law works and not gonna understand what happens when you start breaking the law and somebody dies as a result of that, is gonna say, well, technically, based on what we know right now, based on what is being alleged by the Akron police, it wasn't his bullet that killed this person. So yet again, we have an innocent Beba Angel Aladdin who you want charged with murder, Sean, that in reality, in our humblest of humble opinions, was just out there trying to feed his starving family.
Lieutenant Murphy says these arrests may help bring some relief to Hutchinson's family tonight.
This is something that we're extremely excited and happy about to begin the process of helping to restore and bring some justice to this family and help.
Will they? Will they really? I hope so. I hope so.
Maybe to provide a little bit of closure for them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there is no
that.
justice for this particular family. This guy died as a result of the injustice that was perpetuated by the Akron criminal justice system. These criminals were aided and abetted by the system every step of the way because everyone wanted to minimize this situation where they savagely beat a teenager to death. They looked in the face of his grieving parents and said to themselves, well, no big deal. Honestly, systemic structural racism. Don't be an evil white racist lady who's upset about the murder of your son.
This is so ridiculous. This pissed me off a lot. But it's still better now than ever. It's horrible what happened, but something has to happen permanently with this guy. Permanently, okay? Because otherwise we will have more and more victims. And this cannot happen. The judges should be sentenced to death, in my opinion.
We're gonna give him a slap on the wrist, and I'm sure it will work out. So yeah, I have no faith at all that they will prosecute this particular case to the fullest extent of the law. And even if they do, even if they get it right the second time, you shouldn't be allowed to stack bodies before eventually law enforcement says, okay, we're going to intervene. Maybe the first homicide should have been taken seriously. Maybe that could have resolved everything. And when I say maybe, I mean 100%. If they would have tagged this guy with a manslaughter charge and gotten him 10 years, guess what? Timothy Hutchinson, still alive. He goes out to the bar, he meets his friends, he hangs out, he goes home. Maybe he has a little bit of a hangover the next day, but instead he caught a bullet because the Akron criminal justice system decided that Deshaun Stafford's life was worth way more than any person he could potentially kill in the future, and I'm absolutely sick of it. Again, this is something that we warn about all the time on this channel. When you don't go after people, when they show you that they have a pattern of violent behavior, when you continuously release them on the streets, they're going to escalate. It's going to get worse, and eventually it's going to cost somebody their lives. And the fact that they didn't do anything after he already took somebody's life is insane in every possible way. I mean, I can't even call him a convicted murderer right now because they didn't even bother to pursue that against him. They were like, okay, just an assault. You know, you just dusted him up a little bit. We're going to ignore the fact that you again stomped out his chest, and again, he had shoe prints all over his body because they just kept hitting him after he was on the ground. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about Ethan Liming's killer, killing again. Till next time.
Before we go any further, I want to take this brief moment here to thank all of you, my patrons, for the incredible support to my work here on YouTube, and especially my three-tailed fox tier members, Wolony Wolf, Heath Rowell, Fenny Sylvy, Zalost, Taiashi, Zaela Zhezzaia, and Succubus Bait. Thank you very, very much. You guys are amazing. Also, thanks to everyone who donated to me through Tron and to all of my YouTube members. You can support this channel live and grow with just $5 a month and gain access to many perks. This is less than a burrito. Check out my Patreon, link is in the description below. Yeah, that's terrible. If you think I'm exaggerating or I don't know, maybe I'm too angry or enraged saying that the judge who done this has to be sentenced to death. No, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not. Because this judge is also responsible to these deaths. You know? this and many others that they are allowed to go free because don't get me wrong, the judge who allowed this, it's not their first sentence to death. This is only one case that we are aware that we know that's happening. There is a bunch of this happening in US. The same happens here. The same happens for way longer here. And yeah, for me, you solve this with death penalty to evil judges that are responsible to very dubious sentences like this. It's my opinion, okay? This will never happen, of course. It will never ever happen. I don't even know if it will ever be possible for judges being even arrested for doing such a sentences. But at least if we aim for death penalty to them, at least we can reach an arrest, you know? You aim for more to get less, you know, at least, but to get something. We have to. Or I don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5 years. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys, I will not say enjoyed, but I hope there was some very interesting info or something that you guys wasn't aware of, or something that this content was useful to you somehow. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Subscribe, please. Your subscription is very important. Your engagement on this video as well. I'm facing a lot of troubles and hardships with YouTube at the moment, and I'm trying to live in my terrible country. So if you can support me on the Ko-Fi Tron as well, I would appreciate a lot. Would be much grateful. I see you all guys in the next one. Bye. Have a nice week. And that's it for today, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ja, mata ne!